Bashar al Assad is a leader whose family has ruled the country with an iron fist for more than 50 years. Born in 1965 in Damascus, Bashar was the son of Hafez al-Assad, who became Syria's president in 1971 after a military coup. Hafez's regime was characterized by strict control, suppression of opposition, and the centralization of power within his family and the Alawite sect, a minority group within Syria. Bashar, unlike his older brother Bashar, wasn't initially involved in politics. Instead, he pursued a career in medicine and was studying ophthalmology in London. However, after Bashar tragically died in a car accident in 1994, Bashar was suddenly groomed to inherit his father's mantle. When Hafez al-Assad passed away in 2000, Bashar, at just 34 years old, became Syria's new president. Early on, he was seen by some as a potential reformer, largely due to his Western education and relatively young age. However, despite initial promises of modernization and limited political reform, Bashar quickly consolidated power, and his rule became just as authoritarian as his father's. Opposition was stifled, and political freedoms were severely restricted, marking the continuation of a regime that relied on force to maintain control. In 2011, the wave of the Arab Spring protests reached Syria, and citizens took to the streets calling for democracy and an end to government corruption. The Assad regime's response was violent and brutal. What began as peaceful demonstrations quickly escalated into a full-scale civil war as the government launched military attacks against protesters. This marked the beginning of a decade-long conflict that would devastate Syria. While various rebel factions and international powers supported the opposition, Assad's regime found support from Russia and Iran, who provided military aid and resources. By 2015, Russian military intervention played a crucial role in propping up Assad's government, reversing some of the rebel advances and allowing Assad to regain control of large parts of the country. The war in Syria has led to unimaginable human suffering, with hundreds of thousands killed and millions displaced, both internally and as refugees abroad. Cities like Aleppo, Homs, and Raqqa have been reduced to rubble. Human rights violations, including the use of chemical weapons by Assad's forces, have drawn widespread international condemnation. Despite this, Bashar al-Assad has managed to maintain his hold on power, largely due to his military and diplomatic support from Russia and Iran. However, Syria remains deeply divided, and the country's economy is in ruins, leaving much of its population struggling to survive in the aftermath of the war. Assad's legacy is incredibly controversial. To some, he is seen as a defender of Syrian sovereignty, standing against foreign intervention and terrorism. To others, he is a ruthless dictator responsible for war crimes and the deaths of countless innocent civilians. The Assad family's rule continues to shape Syria's future, with Bashar al-Assad consolidating power despite the immense challenges the country faces. As the conflict enters a new phase of relative stagnation, Syria's long-term stability remains uncertain. Bashar al-Assad's reign, marked by repression and violence, has left an indelible mark on Syria's history, with questions about the future of his regime and the country's rebuilding process still unanswered.